If you struggle with chipping, then this lesson is for you. This is an introductory lesson where we learn a basic shot that can be adapted in many different situations. This is my first time learning this technique, but it's fairly easy to grasp, and by the end of this lesson, I have a shot that I can take out to the course with me because it's highly reliable and I can count on it in pressure situations. This shot works wonders if you're on the fairway, even if you're in the rough, and even if you're in hard pan or mulch, this shot works wonders. And if you want to hit a higher, softer shot, all you have to do is alter your setup. So the techniques from this basic shot is very scalable. And I went from not being able to hit that high, soft shot to be able to getting some balls into the air. But I'm nowhere near as good as Tim. He can get the ball quite high into the air and he demonstrates just that. Hopefully, I'll be able to hit some higher flop shots like that as well too. But contrary to what I believed before, I thought that the only way that you could hit those higher flop shots was by flipping and releasing, similar to how Dan Grieve teaches like that release 3. But Tim just proves that you can get the ball into the air by hitting down on the ball and it'll just pop right up. And I would say that Tim teaches short game similar to how Phil Mickelson does. They have similar ideologies where why would we practice shots that can be only used in certain situations? Let's practice shots that can be used in a variety of different situations and it's versatile. Tim, for the most part, is pretty big on getting ball first contact and hitting down on the ball rather than flipping and using the bounce. If you would have seen a previous short game lesson where we worked on some pitch shots, where we learned the style of Joe Mayo, both that lesson and this lesson are more the philosophy of getting ball first contact. And from my perspective, what has worked for me, I think that this ball first contact is working. I'm getting way more consistent results. Not saying that the other methods are bad. I encourage you to go try those as well too. But if you do struggle with some chipping and short game, I would just give this lesson a try and see if it works for you, because it doesn't hurt, right? And guys, if you're new to this channel, my name is Chonger. I'm an average golfer with the goal of trying to get to scratch. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, follow along on this journey with me as I document my weekly lessons, talk about different gear and gadgets that help me improve, and just share anything really that helps me progress and gets me closer to that goal of scratch. So let's dive into this lesson.
I think what I want to practice here is kind of what I've been harping on a lot of my players lately is practice difficult. So like put the ball in bad lies.
Yep.
Because it's not surprising then when you get your first bad lie on the first hole that you go and play and you're like, what about that? Because I'm only practicing off of these nice lies. So let's figure out options to hit good shots out of bad lies and see how that kind of goes. So okay. This is a 9-iron.
Yep.
If I scaled this all the way down to like the 2 easiest clubs in my bag to make sure that I get this on the surface, I think it's like putter and like a hybrid or something that I can sort of roll along the ground. But I'd say our like mid or short irons are pretty easy to sort of handle this too. If I have the option to roll it along the ground, that's going to be the best option.
Okay.
Right? So the moment you go to like pitching the golf ball, this is where I think it goes more skill than technique. When we're dealing with like basically putting it along the ground with not as much loft as a wedge, I think it's way more technique than skill. I think if I just stand up there and go, okay, the ball is there, my hands are here, if I just swing back and forth, there's not a lot of loft, so it's just going to kind of roll out. That's great margin of error, great value for the shot that I'm hitting.
Yep.
Is it spectacular? It's not, but it might be the best option from any of these scenarios where I just go, okay, I'm going to hit ball first. That's the worst that I could hit it.
Yep.
And it's still like right there. If I hit that terrible with a lob wedge, it might be like right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. It's still a terrible shot, but it's just better. So why don't we do the first shot with just like a 9-iron or a wedge, pitching wedge, whatever you want. Yep.
Sure.
And let's just hit standard bump and runs that cruise out to that first flag there.
Okay, the one just straight ahead there?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So do we want this shot low or high?
Low.
Low. So when you hit a punch out of the trees, do you stand tall and close or far and low?
I think I'd stand closer.
Yeah. Same thing, like if you were going to hit a flop shot, you would like really drop down low and you'd really kind of like bend your knees to kind of get the height and elevation.
Yep.
So if we want this low running to the ground, then we're going to stand close,
Yep.
tall, really vertical with the grip.
Okay.
Toe of the club, pretty much the only thing contacting the ground. Hands kind of in that position where my thumbs are down, and I'm just going to keep my thumbs down the whole way through.
Am I thinking about some shaft lean?
A
or
little bit, yeah,
a little
for
bit?
sure. But not so much that it's going to get you stuck in the ground. So I'd get you a little taller. Yeah, even a little taller still. Right? Not necessarily closer, just taller.
Taller?
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
And off the back foot?
Yep.
Okay.
For sure.
That was kind of a awkward position for me.
So that's hosel hitting it, but
Yeah.
that's you encroaching on the golf ball. So I'm going to show you something here. The only way that happens,
Yep.
the only way that last shot happens is if I somehow get closer to the ground and the club has to go that way.
Okay.
So that's from here.
Sure.
If I just stand up like really, really tall, that's what I was kind of saying, stand tall. If I stand really tall, I don't have any bend in my knees. I'm not going to add any bend in my knees. If I just sort of lock my hands out and don't bend my knees at all, there's almost no way that I'm going to like hit the hosel of the. It's like putting, right? You're not going to ground out unless your knees are bending
Okay.
and flexing. So look at how much higher my handle is here, how much the heel is off of the ground, how my feet are close and tall together. My eyes are kind of ahead of the golf ball, and then nothing moves from there. And then now I can just sort of release this little rolling shot towards my target. Right. Well, let's see it. What you set up there? Bam, bam, bam. Looks pretty good. Yeah. Lock out the legs. Okay. Shoot. No, not bad. Kind of, that's where your shoulders are aiming. So that was the second part of your little, call it shank or misfire.
Yep.
Is your shoulders are aiming way more right, or sorry, way more left than your feet.
Okay.
So because of it, the club's kind of swinging way outside, and then you're limiting the potential of that face coming in there. Think more like a putting arc. It's coming back on a little bit of an arc. It's definitely not going inside.
Yep.
But it's going to swing back a little bit and then kind of through. So I'm really trying to keep it relative to where my hands are around my body. So kind of shoring it up a little bit, and you can take your toes and spin them towards the target a bit more.
To open it up a little?
Yep, both of the toes. Right? Good.
Okay, and then just...
Yeah. Good. Yeah, great. Ready? Relax for a sec. Okay, you can get closer to it. Great. Beautiful, like great setup there.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Stay in that same setup. Grip pressure right now for you is like 7 out of 10.
Lighter?
Let's make it like 5.
Okay.
Okay. This angle that's in your left wrist, this is called ulnar deviation. This going down this way.
Yep.
We really want that. And you really want that to stay there. So if it doesn't move, then we're not manipulating the face and rotating around. Once you've got that locked in position, then I just want to move that through to kind of get that golf ball in that direction.
So am I thinking about holding this wrist
Yeah,
off almost?
very still.
So I'm not releasing this club whatsoever?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. This is definitely like a putting motion where we're sort of bracing to hold that face in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. 5 out of 10 grip pressure. Nice and tall. This looks great. Lovely. Now we just need to aim for that break, that slope that's there. So
Yep.
this, if we get this correct,
Yep.
should be the simplest version of a shot that you could advance along the ground. This is a chip shot. It's rolling. It's covering more ground after it flies versus flying it more and having it stop quickly. But we want to use this as the basis to adapt to some of the other shots that we're going to hit. So it
Okay.
doesn't take too much of a vacation from like this setup. I think we can do everything kind of the same as this, just start to add loft and start to change around with the face angle a little bit.
Okay.
So let's try, keep going to that, but just adjust your aim a little bit to play the slope. Let's try to make this.
Okay. Visually, I can't really see how it's sloping.
Of how this
It looks like it's going a little
yeah,
that
I mean,
way.
we would walk anyways,
yeah.
right? If you had a chance.
Yeah.
you'd probably walk up here and you'd stand like here somewhere,
Yeah.
right? And you'd start to evaluate. If we could do like aim point, you kind of stand here and go,
Yep.
feels a little lower. Maybe see a little topography here, right? That we kind of see like a little bit of this slope going this way. Right? A little bit? Something? Anything?
A little.
A little.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
How about now that the sun's shining? More or less?
Same. I feel like I'm better at feeling it with my feet
Yeah.
than actually looking at it.
Get low and have a look. More? Less? Same?
When I look at it, it looks the opposite way of what
Does
my
it?
feet feel.
Yeah. The golf balls don't help either. Like the golf balls don't help the optics of your depth perception. But let's just say that we've read this correctly. So it's
Yep.
like 4 feet left of the hole. That one ball that's kind of sitting there is kind of the perfect line. Then that's the straight line for us. So just like aim point, we've got a point to sort of aim at, to push our club towards. Good. And let's try to circle off this club so it's got a little bit of a rounded arc to it, back and through. Thumbs down the whole way. Awesome. Awesome. Right? So if we had the option,
Yeah.
firm, nice conditions, that's the shot that you're going to go to more often than not.
Okay.
You could do that with a little, like a wedge too, if we're closer to the green, play the same style of sort of bump and run. But that shot right there that has a lot of less variables than maybe trying to like swing across or cut across or add spin to it, that shot's going to give you the best chance of success. Of our success on this pass fail is giving us a chance to make a putt, a legitimate chance. So I think from here, this is 20, call it 45 feet away. So if we were really good at chipping, PGA Tour stats would be a little outside of 10%, be like 15% off a green side. So it'd be like 6.5 feet, 7 feet that we have, like the circumference we'd get it into. If you got this inside 7 feet, you're as good as most tour players and you have a chance to make a putt. I think that's fair.
Mhm.
If you get really good at this and you can predict the roll and read the greens correct, I think that with distance control that you're probably going to hit it inside 5 feet more often than not.
Okay.
Let's do this a couple times, just get a handle on this, and then we'll adapt and kind of add the wedges into it. Good. So hands are up nice and tall, and then the thumbs just stay down the whole way through. Pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty great. If we were in Scotland or Ireland, this would be the end of our lesson in chipping. This would just be like, you'd be insane if you take it up anywhere. You have to just keep this along the ground. But we live in North America and we play parkland golf courses with different complexes where there is opportunities or necessity for us to kind of like take the ball up in the air. But there's a little scruffy, right? You didn't hit it exactly the way you wanted.
No.
We probably are still like within an acceptable range of potentially making a putt and not making a catastrophic mistake. How does this technique feel? It's okay?
Just I think obviously standing a bit taller is a
Yes.
little more awkward than what I'm used to, but
Yeah.
I think as far as we have margin of error,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I can go. If anything, I'm probably gonna like
Right.
duff it. If anything, but
So we really want that butt end of the grip, like above your belt buckle.
Okay.
It looks ridiculous, I know.
Yep.
But it's going to help us get that toe in the ground and really swing this thing and just catch the ball clean as you go through. The more I get there, the more this has potential to start to maneuver and turn away from us. So we're just trying to take that angle.
the worst thing that you want is a heel to hit it, right?
Right. That's right. All right. So tall legs. Good. Lovely. Like great contact. Great contact.
Yeah.
Like how often you could probably drive this online. If I gave you 20 golf balls and said, hey, we're not leaving until you make one, I think with that technique, you probably have the best chance of improving on each golf ball, knowing that you can replicate the same shot over and over again.
Mhm.
If I said you have one ball to pull off an incredible shot, I think maybe we choose a different club.
Yep.
Okay, so that's that shot. That shot we could use that all day long. Green's edge, rolling it when we have lots of surface of the green. Do we want to use it from 40 yards away? Probably not. Do I have players that use that shot from 40 yards away? Yeah, because they're get a little bit nervous around here. Maybe their skill set isn't there.
Would you even do it to like the far pin back there?
Of course you would. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like if you had that shot,
Yeah.
you know, it's just a little bit more speed. You have an avenue a little left there. There's obviously a ton of golf balls out there now, but
Yeah.
if you get this thing rolling, so this is just a longer swing to try to get that distance. So I'd say you caught that just a little thin. It's also maybe lack of experience with this shot. That let's just say that the first pin here is
Should be where I'm landing
how
it?
many paces away is that? Maybe 25 paces. How many yards are we there to that pin? 25 yards, maybe. 10,
Maybe.
20. So let's call it 25 paces. The next pin past is maybe another 10 paces, not even, maybe 6 paces. So we only need 6 more paces of distance. So if you were landing these ones like short of the green and then running on, this one, if you wanted to get it close to the hole, is 6 more paces than that. It's just landing onto the green, and it's probably getting there.
Yep.
So just learning maybe the outcome or the roll that comes with it. It's kind of like carry to third, roll 2/3. It sort of looks like with this wedge. I think that's pretty good. That's a little short of where you want, but I think it's going to roll out nicely because of the back end of that slope. That's a pretty easy shot.
Yeah.
Right? So let's do that with your next lowest or most loft, your 50 degree.
Okay.
So let's see if you're equally as comfortable with that shot.
Just the same thing. Just
Same thing.
Run,
So let's go to the same pin, this first one, the close one. Knowing now that you have a little bit more loft and probably a little bit more spin off of, say, the Vokey wedge than the one from your set.
Okay.
Good ball at your feet there.
I thought it was going to.
I think it was a little combo, like a little thin and probably a little bit too much pace. What's your wedge you're hitting? A pitching wedge?
Yeah,
That is 46 degrees, maybe?
I think so. 46 or 47.
Okay, so we've got 4 more degrees of loft. This is going to come out a little bit higher, a little bit spinnier, but not a crazy amount. We're 1 club away, sort of thing. Okay, not so bad.
That one I felt like I hit the ground first.
You
right?
did. So you swung a little bit away from yourself. So when you go this way, and the hand's going to go up and the thumb's going to go out and away from you and the club lifts off the ground there,
Yep.
then you hit the ground early, the low point gets driven behind the ball, and then it kind of gets lifted up. That's why we really want to make sure that we kind of keep those thumbs down and they exit left of us. There's this little arc, especially in the follow-through, that really works left of us. That helps that, kind of what we talked about last time, getting the low point,
Yep.
ahead of the golf ball to really try to get the ball first.
So I'm feeling still like I'm going on to my.
Yeah, weight is forward, legs are tall. Get a little bit of ulnar deviation out of that wrist. Nice, there you go. Yeah, that's kind of what should happen with this wedge is the first hop should be a little spinnier. The first or second hop should just be a little spinnier or grabbier with this one.
It just went left because my face, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it was hit directly in the center of the face, and I think the face was a little bit left when it hit that spot. A little scruffy.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, again, like, if that's the style of shot that you were going to play, and that's where that ball ended up 12 feet right of the hole, it's not a huge penalty for such a mishit.
No.
How do you get precise about your aim? Maybe that's a good question. As if it's just a game now of like, okay, the distance control is pretty good, but now I just have to get the aim because sometimes it's left and right. How would you do this with the ball sitting here? How would you acquire kind of like where exactly you want to aim?
I think that's one thing that I have struggle with because I feel like I know my tendency is to kind of, they go left. And I think that's part of me as I'm coming through.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that if I don't do that, I think I get the heel and then it shanks. So if
Right.
I have to pick the worst, I think I default to
Yeah, that's fair.
trying to go left a bit to get better contact.
Yeah. So once you have a good handle on contact, I think that's the obvious one, is you got to
Yep.
make sure you hit it solid. It's just the consideration of like targeting from behind. So if I know that I want this golf ball to be a few feet left of the hole, then I'm going to start from behind here, and I can either use intermediate targets or I can just use the ball by itself. So if I have perfect conditions, perfect grass, and there's nothing else to aim at, then I'll use the ball like a clock system. But if I'm just approaching the ball from here and I can kind of find a divot that works for me out in front, like the corner of this one, if I know that that's kind of where I want to aim it or land it on that line, then I can kind of get in here and aim my face and take a little consideration to where that target is, and then start to use that intermediate target to the spot where I want to aim and kind of work my eyes back and forth. And then now my job is kind of done with my aim. I don't even have to think about hitting it over top of that. I just have to try to keep that face arranged. If I keep that face arranged in that spot, I think that even if I bottom out a little funky, I'm not going to miss it by very much, and I'm probably going to get that golf ball on the correct line for it to kind of release and work up towards the hole, maybe. Player B is very good. Player B is always very good. Yeah. Yeah, great. And then just commit to it. Nice. Just a touch right, but great control there. Okay, so starting to become pretty comfortable with this shot, looking like it's going to be something that's really useful. Again, like if you have this distance from around a green, you're going to try to make this work first, this style of shot first
Yep.
option. If you told me that every time you hit your lob wedge and you did like a super flop, you could hit it within 3 feet,
Yep.
then I'd say that's your first option. If you're that confident, comfortable, and prepped for that shot, that's the shot you could hit. That was Mickelson. He grew up in a backyard that had a green here, and he just flopped his golf balls around. So when he came on tour, he did something totally different. He just hit these ridiculous shots. A lot of showmanship, probably a lot of ego, I imagine. Maybe not the best shots all the time, but for this right now, if this becomes your bread and butter, this is what you're going to lean on more than anything else. This can't be the only shot, though.
Yep.
So we haven't got to the rest of the wedges yet. We'll work our way up. This is now your 54 degree.
Yep. I should probably clean my grooves.
Should keep them clean. Yeah, they will spin and react differently, for sure. Okay, so let's go to the same flag. We have 2 clubs more now.
Yep.
Let's keep the same technique and see if it works.
Just have to hit it harder.
I think so. But let's see if it works for us to be able to control something. If we are just as good, better, worse. So kind of like the first 50 degree that you hit. I mean, it's nice if it goes in that other one.
Wrong one.
It's okay. You can edit that.
Yeah. I meant for that one.
We should have just celebrated. Edit it in. Like kind of like the first one that you hit. It's like you came up with too much. We only need a little bit more.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how I was going to react,
sure.
so I kind of just...
Sure. Keep that 5 out of 10 grip pressure, maybe looser, if you can. There we go. So a little bit more initial spin, that first hop.
Yep.
Still a pretty good shot. We're almost getting to the point where you could consider flying this onto the surface of the green and probably still stop it short of the hole with this technique. That might not be with this club, it might be with the next one. But let's see if you can kind of get that to fly on the front edge of that green and see if with good contact you can kind of get it to stop. I think that's going to be pretty good. Like really good. Yeah, that's a nice shot. Great shot.
Yeah, that one I really felt just keeping my hand low.
Right.
And instead of coming out.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah, as long as we can kind of keep them on the same track, right? Your your hand path, once I set it and I'm not moving my body around too much here, my hand path has its own little arc that it kind of works on, and it really alters and affects the arc, especially with my wrist angles, of where that club path goes. And if I can keep them relatively the same, so I'm not altering too much of the club head path where my hand path is going, if I'm not doing too much here, then that club head is going to travel really in unison with wherever my hands are going, right? And that really goes up the chain to where the shoulders are going.
How do you, sometimes
sometimes you get stuck.
I get stuck.
Yeah. Do you know why you get stuck?
No.
Because your weight is probably even,
Yep.
or you start to shift and drag the club before you lift it. If I'm in a position where I'm heavy enough here,
Yep.
my grip pressure is soft enough, and I take the club back, then the club is being lifted off of the ground as it goes away from the golf ball.
Yep.
It shouldn't get stuck. If it gets stuck, there's two things at fault, like a little bit too much knee bend, and typically a little bit of weight onto the back foot.
Okay.
Softer grip pressure also helps. Yeah, I thought great technique. You just didn't fly it far enough.
I feel like when I'm in this more upright position, it's harder for me to get good like speed on it. I feel like I want to almost, I'm only going like so fast, and if I go quicker, that's when I thin it, or that's when I, like it's harder for me to.
So what if you don't go faster? What if you just went bigger?
Just more?
Yeah, more. So more has a curve to it, right? Like if I'm doing this, more could look like this.
Okay.
Right, more can start to work, the club head can work around us. It is on an angle, so it is a tilted circle. There's no straight line here, so you can really let it kind of go more. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So that's probably the swing for really the last flag there if you kind of kept that golf ball going. And that kind of leads us into how we're going to alter some like height into this. Just a little thin. Again, not terrible. Technique is kind of saving you a little bit there. Nice. Very nice. Okay. 60. I think you know what I'm going to say.
Same shot.
Let's do the same and see the outcome.
Yep.
So really, if you're chipping with, call it 4 clubs, which is what we've kind of selected here. 2 of them are very similar. Like really the 50, like these ones here, the difference between these 3 is not profound. The difference between these 2 is definitely not profound. The difference between those 2 is definitely not profound. But with the, call it the 54 degree we saw, or is that 54 or 6? 54?
54, yeah.
Okay, so that 54, we saw a significant increase in spin.
Yep.
From the pitching wedge in particular. So we should see a significant amount of spin increase in height out of this 60 degree from similar sort of delivery. Oh yeah. Oh, nice. I don't know about you, but I can like hear that thing spinning. That was very good.
Yeah, that one I was, obviously because we talked about instead of going faster, so I was able to judge, I think, of that one a bit more.
A little bit more length, a little bit more like around. It's good.
Oh, that was... So when I do that, that's when I'm just popping up too fast, right?
Yeah, yes.
I just don't stay down.
So typically why that happens is you're trying to put some amount of effort or speed into the club head.
Yep.
And you haven't acquired enough length in the backswing, so you start to accelerate. And as you accelerate, it forces your body to kind of get involved. So really, if you want these ones to come out softer and spinnier, these are longer, slower motions that get the golf ball to land softer than anything that's short and abrupt. So from the same technique, from the same setup, you can keep the grip pressure loose, soften and lengthen the swing, knowing full well that you're staying where you are, so there's no chance of you hitting behind the golf ball. You just stay in your posture and you just make a softer, longer swing. Nice. Nice. Really good. Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's almost like I just have to trust that the club can
Yeah.
do it, right?
Yeah, part of the trust is going to come from the fact that when you set up to this golf ball, it's back in your stance, your hands are ahead, your eyes are a little ahead of the golf ball. Everything where the ball is behind you, and you should be able to just without moving too much, should be able to like pinch the ball clean. So then if you know that that's going to happen, then you can start to swing a little smoother. Good. Stay up nice and tall. Nice. Really nice. So there's that soft spinning shot.
Yep.
That's pretty great. That's not high enough though, right? We need something higher than that sometimes.
Yep.
This is a cool shot. It's definitely a little bit different, and you're comfortable with it with a 60, with a 54, with the 50, with the 46. But we're going to need a little bit more height out of this. So we'll make an adaptation to this chipping setup and turn it into a pitch shot. I think you just lost your line there a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's keep that 60 degree, and let's work on some height from the same setup. So if I take this spot, and I go, okay, Graham, let's just hit this higher in the air. I have 58 degrees here. If I put it back in my stance, kind of like we're playing, and I get the toe down, I might have about 54, 53, something in there degrees at this moment. If I still hit it like this, it's going to come out nice, right? Like you hit a lot of shots that were nice, but they're lower and a little spinnier, so they're not really getting the high, soft landing that we want.
Mm-hmm.
If we want a high, soft landing, I think we just need to open the face a little bit. So if I go from this setup close and tall, and then I just open the face, keep my hands ahead, and then swivel my feet around until the club face points at my target. I've now opened up a little bit more. My club face has more loft on it. My hands are now going to work around me a little bit more, and I think this is where we can make longer swings and get the ball to carry a little bit further and drop in. We have a flop shot now, and I've just made a slight tweak from the same shot that we were hitting bump and runs from. So I'll do that again so you can see it. It's really easy. I go from here, and that was quite a bit different height.
Yep.
So I can go from here, my close tall setup, this is my 58 degree. I want it to go higher, so I just add loft. I've just twisted that club open. It's pointing over there now, and my hands are still a little bit ahead, so what I'm going to do is just circle back. I've got this now more forward in my stance, more left of me, but my hands are still ahead, and I've still got no bounce. I've kind of canceled the bounce because my hands are ahead and the face is open. I make a longer swing, and the ball goes really high and lands really soft because of it. I'm really effectively kind of doing the same thing that we were doing. I've just altered the angles a little bit to kind of capitalize on that open face deflection. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Let's see if you can do it.
Okay, so this is the normal stance, and
Yeah.
then now I open it,
Uh-huh.
and then but wait, this has to go more forward.
Yeah. So I say circle. This is a good way to
Circle.
see it is wherever the ball is to me, I'm
Yep.
on the outside of, I'm like on the circumference of a circle to the golf ball. So if I stay the same distance from it and I just walk around it this way,
Yep.
or I walk around it this way, then my feet are still kind of looking, my body's still kind of looking into it.
Yep.
So when I open the face up that way and I want to get it to go on line, then really what I'm doing is I'm circling around the golf ball. That puts it more forward, but it still puts me in the same position, kind of arranged to the ball.
Okay.
Okay, so go from your normal setup first, and you can kind of see it really easy here. So I go like that, like this, I open the face, and then now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go around this little circle. So my feet are just now moving around a little, perfect.
Yep.
You got it, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then just
good, yeah. Then now your low point is
still ahead.
still ahead.
Am I thinking about releasing the club or anything, or
Nope,
still the
same.
same? Like,
Same. Keep the hands ahead, keep the face open to your target. Okay. Let's do it again. You just missed the bottom. So if I add a little bit of bounce down here,
Yep.
it pops the ball up. If I add a little bit of like club going through, it'll drive the ball more forward. We want a little bit of like Think like a basket, like I throw a basketball down, it bounces back up. So if I have a little bit more thump down, it pops the ball up in the air.
Am I still thinking ball first contact though?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yeah, you are. But you're thinking of like getting that club to bounce underneath the golf ball.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So you can open that face a bit more. Perfect. Perfect. Good. So just splat that on the ground, that bounce.
I just didn't get
Yeah.
my.
You don't even need to go across that much.
No.
No. So I'll go from here. You can just see me again. So I'll go there. My setup is there. My hands are ahead. I'm a little farther from the ball for sure.
Okay.
Okay. But I take my bounce and go down with it. That gets it to land really soft. So my contact is going here. I can do it with hinge or without hinge. If I take the hinge off, I can still do the same thing. Drives a little bit more spin into it. I soften that. I like to hinge because it allows me to kind of soften my hands. Typically, if I don't hinge, I just have to really slow down. But this creates kind of that bounce. The harder that I hit down into this, the more it bounces the ball up.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So this here is hitting the ground, down at the ground, but it's not sweeping through. We're just doing this underneath the golf ball. Yeah, stay up nice and tall. Eyes stay up. There's nothing about your body that's going down. The club is going down. Head stays up. Super tall. I see.
I think that's a common.
That's the shot for you.
Yeah.
That keeps showing up. Okay. We just have too much angle here.
Too much.
Yeah, too much. I'm gonna let you just stand in my feet. I'll set up to this shot for how we want to hit it. There. We'll go like that. Like this. We'll go right there. So I'll let you come and stand. Right foot in there. Yeah, good. Left foot right there. There you go. And just open the face a little bit. More. Great. Now, knees are here,
Yep.
which is great. Feet are a little bit. You can bring this one up just a little bit there. There you go. Shoulders are way over there, and they just need to be here.
Okay.
Yeah. You just need to match up all your lines here. Good. Open
Okay.
that, you can open that face just a bit more. Great. All right. You do not need to swing outside in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can actually.
There you go. Right. You can just swing it back. Good. I like the contact. We just got to make it go to the right.
And it's just because I was too far.
That's right.
Like that, so I
Yep.
have to more.
Right. So throw a little bit more down at it. That's why that's there.
Yeah.
So you think down and you go like this. Down.
Yeah.
I think down and I go like this. Down. Like away from me. So I want to do this as I go down. I want
Okay.
to throw something kind of away from me. I want to extend. You're going down and going like this, and then the club doesn't have any room, and then that's why it's catching the hosel or hitting that basket. On purpose. Good. So I want you to do this. Set up to that golf ball, and then swing inside of that golf ball. So set up to that ball, and then brush the grass inside. Good. That's the feeling of opening up for a flop shot. Yeah. So now
Okay.
do that same thing, but hit the golf ball. But feel like you move away from it, catch it on the toe. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Okay? It's like a fadeaway.
It feels like if I'm popping up, I'm gonna thin it. But I
Totally.
guess.
Let's just say what you were doing without knowing it, or maybe just by default,
Yep.
is you were actually taking this thing and moving closer to the ground.
Yep.
And you're doing that like without you knowing.
Yep.
So if I do something that makes you kind of go this way, like away from it,
Yep.
create some space, it'll soften our blow a little bit. You really want, and you'll see a lot of players actually sort of catch this out towards the toe. It's pretty dead over there. So if I on purpose kind of like deaden this off the toe, worst case scenario is it's not going to spin, but at least it's going to not go straight sideways on me. So I want you to like kind of fade away on the shot. pull yourself kind of up and out to try to let this thing kind of like cut across it a little bit. Nice. Nice. Very nice. We can get it higher, softer.
And that comes just from more down, right?
Yep.
Or
Yeah. So more open face. You can open it even more.
when I see this much open face, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm gonna
Yeah.
hosel it. But that's just because I haven't been going
That's right.
that way.
Right.
Okay, so if I,
Yeah. There you go.
okay, yeah.
Right. So definitely a lot of spin on it. But it really is like, I can open this thing like this. And as long as I present that club face, we can still get underneath it to hit.
When it's like that much open,
Yeah.
because eventually at the moment of impact though, is your face kind of like this?
Uh-huh.
So you almost have to,
I'm releasing,
you have to
yeah.
overtake.
Right.
Okay.
So like there my face is aiming over there.
Yep.
But for me to hit this on line, as I go into the downswing, I'm going to let that go that way into the golf ball.
Yep.
And if I can go from open and throw down, that gives me the height and kind of spin out of that shot there. If we want the mega flopper. We go low bounce, hands ahead. That's your highest, softest shot even off of these fairways here. Versus maybe trying to like throw your hands at it too much. So same technique that we're working on.
Yeah.
Allows me to get that golf ball to come out of there. I'm definitely hitting down. I'm definitely making a mark. Definitely hitting the ground after the golf ball. Good. You can go a little wider with your stance. That might help you. Great. Good. And feel like you make room to hit this shot, like away from the ball. Throw it down. Nice. Nice. Yeah, really good. Really good.
Yeah, that one I felt like I released it. Before I think I was holding it off, and then
Yeah.
I think,
Yes.
and then I was probably holding it off, and then it just kept going, right?
Nice. There, you're opening up there. It's great. Yeah, it's great. So really quickly go back to the where we started from.
Yep.
So go back to the stock setup, back of the stance, bump and run, comes out lower. You know you have to take this to kind of green edge. Just so you know what like the standard is going to be like for you.
Yep.
And how nice and easy that shot is for you to control. Please go in.
Close.
Tap in.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
like I was kind of saying, just in our messages back and forth, I'm like, try to keep it on the ground.
Yeah.
But if you have to have the right technique to keep it on the ground. So if this is working, which it looks like it is, and you can carry this through your bag, there's no reason why you can't venture further up the bag and try a 5-iron or 7-iron and kind of see where your tipping point is. It might just mean that, hey, you know what? I'm going to lean on pitching wedge or gap wedge to kind of make this work more often than not. And then as I need more height, I can make the adaptation. We can do this the same way that we were doing that with lob wedge. Not that you would. This is what did I grab? A 9-iron. So if I do all the same things with my 9-iron and I go, okay, I don't want to go like this. I want more loft. I want to go this way. And then I want to swipe underneath it. I'm going to get kind of like the same result that I would get with my lob wedge. It's going to come out higher, softer, and a little spinnier. But there's not really much of an application that I'd need this for.
Yep.
I have probably a pitching wedge or a 56 degree wedge that gets me up more accurately, that spins a little bit better.
Yep.
But in the good old days, or maybe the really, really old days, they didn't have sand wedges. They had pitching. Pitching wedge was the highest loft that you had, and that pitching wedge was like a 50 degree wedge. So these guys were like getting out of bunkers and getting over bunkers and hitting it over trees, just manipulating the tool a little bit. So I would imagine they would have done a lot of the same things off of bare lies with not very good golf balls.
I have a question about the lies,
Yeah.
because those are off this one, but if we take it a bit further
Yeah.
off of this rough,
Yeah.
How does that impact setup, technique, kind of style
Yeah.
of shot?
I think a good rule of thumb is the worse the lie, the further the ball goes back in the stance. The more we know it's not going to spin, so let's just let it not spin. So if I have a really not a very good lie in the rough, it's sitting down in a hole, or maybe it's in really long grass, but let's just say it's here. Then I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to look for, can I get this thing running out of here? Because I'm going to have that be the best option for me to be able to put it back here and go, I'm going to try to just get ball first and let it like roll its way to wherever my target is.
Yep.
That's going to be my best choice always, depending on how bad the lie is. When the lie is good, it's kind of maybe a bit of a false sense of security. When it looks like a really good lie, it just gives us a little bit of more option for a mistake. So to me personally, I don't like this lie at all. But most amateurs would love this because it's sitting so high and fluffy.
Yep.
But the problem with this is I can't use the ground here as like a reference point. I've got to like almost like pick this thing off of a tee to have good control with it. And when I do that, I'm going to interact with some turf and it's going to pop off of here. So this is like a flyer.
Yep.
And the mistake that most players will make is they'll just swing and they'll hit it high on the face and it'll come out dead. So I got to read this lie, and what I'll do is I'll make practice swings that are literally like the same height as the grass so that I can hit the golf ball in the middle of the golf ball rather than hitting it underneath. So
Yep.
a lot of the shots that you're going to hit out of the rough are evaluating the lie quickly and determining how bad it is. Do I need to jam this way back in the stance and hit down on it? Maybe, if it's nasty. That's the best way to get to the ball first. If it's a good lie, just make sure that it's not like up so juicy that you go underneath it. I typically don't play flop shots out of the rough, right? It's just hard to control the spin, especially if the ball's sitting up. You try to play more of the shot that we were kind of playing, which is like, okay, I want this out softer and higher. I would open the face, I would circle on it, would make my move there, and then now I've got maybe my control kind of back with wedges instead of a 9-iron. You want to hit some out of the rough?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a couple.
Yeah. Put yourself in some not so good lies and some like really.
Okay, so let's
Incredibly
just
good
say I
lies.
put the ball really down here.
Okay.
And so this is a candidate of back foot or,
For sure.
right, because it's hard to kind of.
Yeah. Now use the rules always in your advantage. If you walk up there and you're like, this might be embedded,
Yeah.
I'm gonna mark it and check it. If it's sitting like really close to the ground and you can't find your ball mark,
Yep.
I'm gonna just check to make sure it's not embedded. But if it's not, if it's just a bad lie,
Yep.
then yes, we're gonna put this way back in the stance, like beyond your back toe, to try to get to the ball before anything else. This is gonna be really direct and abrupt in sort of its stop. It's gonna come out low and way faster than you anticipate because there's no spin, no loft. So it's just a bit of a guess unless you've practiced it a little bit. But for this first flag, if you're rolling it out there, you don't need much to get it there.
Okay. So almost you'd want to pick your highest degree loft then, or?
Find a comfortable. You want a little bit of loft because you're going to take a bunch off,
Yep.
and you'd probably want one of your scoring wedges, particularly the one that has the kind of the nicest design to cut through grass. So
If I was playing this, I'd probably take my 54.
So your 54 is an M grind, and this one is the D. Right. So I would use this one, a little less bounce,
Yep.
a little sharper leading edge through the turf. That is the one for sure. The other ones have a bit more bounce. They're a bit more friendly off of the ground. This one's going to be a little bit more in the turf. It's a little sharper edge there. So worse the lie, toe in the ground. That means hands really high up and ball back. And you got it. Yeah. That's pretty great. We should move these golf balls so you can hole some of these.
Yeah.
That was great. That was really easy. Actually, I'm going to take that big thing there. Sweep the green.
This is repeatable. So I think under pressure, once I practice it a bit more, then it's old reliable. So
Oh, yeah.
if I'm in a situation where this one's more sitting up this time,
Yeah, yes.
am I still thinking back foot, or am I thinking now the shot where ball's a bit more in front and I'm trying to land it more high and?
I think it depends on where you're going, first of all.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going to something that has room to run, it's back foot and you're running it along the ground because that's option one.
Yep.
So I think we have nothing impeding us here. This is like, let's just put it along the ground.
Yep.
If you had to go to the first flag and we had a bunker in between, I think you're kind of like forced into option 2, the higher one.
Okay, so always if we have room to run, we're
Yeah.
thinking this.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
this one instead, now I have to think about picking the ball more clean. So I'm thinking about like hitting it. I guess sweeping it, just sweeping it, right?
No, you're
Or
still hitting down. Like
just down?
yeah, you just stay ahead of it, hit down. Nothing really changes. You just move the ball back a little bit and get your hands a little steeper. The worse the lie is, or even out of the rough.
So I actually don't even have to hit it that much harder,
Uh-uh.
actually, because
No.
it just almost.
So I like the recipe here out of the rough is the spin that I would gain from the fairway there would mean that I have to hit it harder to get it to the same spot and then spin it. So here we lose that spin, so I get the run out on the back end. So this ball out of the rough will just typically kind of release a bit more and end up going the same power percentage. But
I think right, obviously this course is pretty well maintained in this area. Like it'll roll a bit, but sometimes when you're playing and the fringe is kind of a bit caught up and a bit messy, right?
Wet, growing into you, long grass, we might not have that option. You might want to use less of it rolling through fairway or rough.
And that's when you would hit it higher, just so that way it's more predictable in that sense, right?
I mean, you're right. The areas around this property are really well maintained, even this practice area. That's kind of like putting through this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really easy. It's a great shot. It's a great shot.
Yeah.
So it's boring, but it's the one that you should lean on the most. Is how do I make this shot work everywhere? And if I can't make it work, how close can I make it to this same shot so that it's just really easy for me not to mess this up?
Okay, then one step, how do we, if we're in the wood chips, how does that now affect?
Wood chips, hard pan or cart path. This is, to me, this is the perfect example of where we want ball first.
Yep.
Where you want to make sure that your contact is with the ball. This is not a bunker shot where I'm going to try to blow out the chips. I'm going to try to get to the ball clean. So it's as equally as maybe challenging or alarming to say, like, I got to have this back in my stance.
Yep.
So you'll see players like really put it back, really get their hands steep, and then really try to hit the ball before anything else. If we're going to that like first flag there, then I'm really trying to get that ball clean to get it to release and spin onto the surface. I would imagine that I got it from where that ball was maybe just a touch heavy because it kind of stood up a little bit.
Yep.
It's easy to do when you've got like a lot of debris in here. But the better you can be at just like that ball first catch, the better the shot's going to come off. So close, tall, steep, and just make sure that you're really like on the ball. Pretty great. Very great. It's I don't know, maybe I mentioned this. There's a bit of a battle in the golf world between how to hit chip shots. The instruction is, it's not like there's a million different options. It's kind of like, do we use all this stuff to slide in under the ball and lift it?
Yep.
Or do we kind of like just get the grooves on the back of the golf ball? And the more that we spend time around the green that aren't in really perfect conditions,
Yep.
this is probably one of those spots. And so is the rough, is like the more that I want direct routes to the golf ball so I can control the ball and the club's interaction. Anytime I'm involving a third party like the ground, it's sometimes it's soft, sometimes it's sandy, sometimes it's this. If I involve it in the equation, it's an unpredictable outcome that you can't determine. So I think the more that you kind of get this idea that everything's based off of that bump and run, that's like back in the stance, my hands are ahead, I'm hitting down on the golf ball, nothing really is moving too much, that's the simplest version of it, then we just add variables or add nuances to it to kind of get it to improve for whatever we need. Higher shots, spinnier shots, etc.
That was actually one thing I was going to ask, just to follow up, because when we were doing the pitch shots before, we were talking about weight more forward, and we're
Yeah.
thinking almost of like
Cutting
like
across.
an underhand kind of
Yep.
serve, kind of
Yes, yeah.
swiping across,
Yeah.
and holding it off.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, as far as how to avoid, I guess, that kind of movement necessarily like transforming into my full swing, because I feel like now I'm kind of a bit
Yeah.
that way.
I like this happens a lot, but there's like, I can't tell you how many different golf swings there are in the game of golf that you have to kind of come up with.
Yeah.
Where I have to play a punch hook shot around the tree, or a high fade, or I want to hit a draw with a driver, or I want to hit a low knockdown with it. So like, these are just another skill set.
Yeah.
You have to treat them from the onset like, I just go through these things, I execute this shot, and then I'm done with this shot. This isn't like every shot that I hit now goes like this.
Yeah.
So part of what it is too is, in your practice, if you're just working on full shots, you should be working on kind of 9 full shots. All, draws, fades, straight shots to 3 different apexes, low, medium, and high. So that you're constantly, you have your barometer on like where you are in your golf game. If you just hammer draws all day long, eventually they'll turn into hooks. That's kind of inevitable if you are just become one-dimensional. So I don't think that if you just, if you spent 20 hours just practicing cut flop shots, that, it's going to probably show up a little bit when you hit some 7-irons or a driver, but then you quickly kind of go, okay, well, wait a minute, where do I want to send the club? How would I stand differently? How would I arrange myself differently? It starts from the setup more than anything else.
So those are actually 2 different kind of techniques that they don't necessarily bleed into. Okay, because I kind of maybe misinterpret some things that we were working on when we were almost like clearing the hip and also standing tall. So I almost kind of associated that movement as something that I do with my full swing as well, too, but maybe just not to the same degree, right?
Right. So, like with a driver, I'm probably not, I don't want to work anywhere across and pull myself in. Am I standing to kind of get some extension? For sure. But I might not be twisting or torquing, and I might not be standing in a position that has me deflecting and softening the blow. I might actually want to stop and hammer into it totally different.
Yeah.
So I had a college player in the other day, and he asked me just a straight up question. He's like, how many golf shots are there? And I'm like, I think there's a billion. Like, when we think about what's the difference between, one shot that we hit and then I move it 1 inch back and hit it a little bit lower, like, that's a totally different shot. It's a different skill set. So I think it's just getting a grasp on your toolbox of shots, knowing that I have a recipe that starts from setup that gets me to hit a high draw 7-iron, and I have a recipe that gets me to hit this low bump and run shot. I got a recipe for my putting. I got a recipe for the driver, and they're all things that kind of come in from the onset. And eventually you get to the point where when I see a shot, my body just goes into those setups. I don't have to think like, I got to move my hands this way and do this. I see a high draw, and immediately I square in, I point my left ear a little bit higher, and I start looking right of the target, and I hit a high draw. I don't have to like paint by numbers nearly as much. But in the beginning, I had to like crazy, because I'd miss something and the shot wouldn't come off. Now it's more, my reaction in my setup is to the shot. So once I see it, I can kind of draw that out a little bit.
Okay, so each different shot has a different kind of setup, but the one thing that was actually the same between that style of pitch shot and a full swing was just the ball first contact then.
Right. Which I think carries through everywhere
Yep.
until you go into the sand, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, hey, your new low point is 2 inches behind the ball. That's a different thing. And that's not something that half the golf world doesn't agree on. No one's saying ball first out of the bunker.
Yep.
So that place is kind of been the same for a long time. It's land it 2 inches-ish behind the golf ball, get the sand to come out. Sand takes the ball out of the sand, so you got to deal with the sand.
Yeah.
A different area for sure. But everywhere else, it's like ball first.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you want to hit some shots?
So that'll conclude this lesson. Hopefully you guys enjoyed and learned something new. There will be a part 2 to this session. After the chipping, we did spend some time into the bunker, so I do have an introductory bunker session, and I learned so much in that quick session, and there will be a more detailed bunker session down the road, so don't worry about that. And I'm just curious, I want your opinion, because sometimes me and Tim will spend like an hour and a half, 2 hours together.
We just work on things until things click. Tim's a great coach and he spends the time. He really cares about player development. And so, you know, I'll be hitting irons for an hour and a half. And I don't know if you guys would want to watch a video that long. But if you do want to see like the full-on lesson of me doing that, then I'm more than happy, or I can cut things up. I don't know. Let me know what your guys' preference for viewing is. And anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.